So good morning, everyone. And welcome to Morning Mindfulness. We'll just wait another minute until we get started. People are still logging on, and I have kept everybody's cameras off, and I've kept you all on mute as well, so that anybody who's still in bed can snuggle in and just be private and not worry about any embarrassment if you're still in your pajamas. So this is a special session for the infield team who are at a conference today, I believe, and a few other colleagues from AbbVie have also been invited to come along. And this is an opportunity for us to explore morning and transition and what happens between waking up and getting up. Or if you're already up and active, maybe it's just a time to set yourself ready for the day. Make sure that you have sort of come to an awareness of what lies in front of you, and also come to an awareness of what you want to achieve and put into the day. So sometimes we just sort of stumble out of bed as the alarm clock rings, and we kind of automatically get up and get into the day. And this is an opportunity really for us to explore how could we start the day more mindfully, how could we set our intention, how could we just transition from sleeping to waking in a way that serves us better and sets us up for a good day. So the way I'm going to run the session is I'm just going to keep talking to you. If you're in bed, snuggle in. If you're already up and maybe at the breakfast table, just sit down and chill out. I'm going to take us through a series of movements, if you like, a series of page turns so that we transition. So the whole point of the next hour is to transition. And if you can't stay for the full hour, if you're worried about time, just while you are here, commit to being here. And then when you leave, you can get on with your day. So, it's just it's kind of a binary option. I'm encouraging you not to multitask, not to use the opportunity to check your emails, but if you're choosing to be here, choose to be here. Thank you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Jenny Robinson, and I am a scholar in mindfulness and leadership practices and the intersection of both. Today I'm leaning more towards mindfulness, but if you are a leader, even if you don't bear the title of leader, you have a job of leading. Everybody does. Everybody leads in some way, in some small way, some large way. Mindfulness is incredibly important for our effectiveness, and incredibly important that we become aware of who we are and how we interact with ourselves, with other people, with events. So mindfulness is this glorious intersection of self-awareness, leadership practice. That means leadership of ourselves and leadership of others. So, this is a way of getting ready for whatever lies ahead, both today and in the longer term. So, as I mentioned, we're going to do transitions. We're going to look at a series of page turns to get you rising and shining for the day. This is being recorded, so you can watch it again at your leisure at any time, or you can pass the recording on to others. If you're in bed, just snuggle up as I read a piece from a philosopher and poet. I think he's Irish, John O'Donoghue. And he's talking about these transitions and what in academic circles is often called a liminal space. So the idea of a liminal space is this indeterminate space between being awake and being asleep, the indeterminate space between going from one team's meeting to another, the indeterminate space in conversations that can arise if we pay attention to them. So there's all sorts of liminal spaces in our lives, and usually we don't even notice them. Usually we just skip from the exciting bits to the next bit, the worrying bits or the urgent bits. But liminal spaces, John O'Donoghue really points to this. So he says, change arrives in nature when time has ripened. There are no jagged transitions or crude discontinuities. This accounts for the sureness with which one season succeeds another. It is as though they are moving forward in a rhythm set from within a continuum. To change is one of the great dreams of every heart. To change the limitations, the sameness, the banality, or the pain. So often we look back on patterns of behavior, the kinds of decisions we make repeatedly and that have failed to serve us well, and we aim for a new and more successful path or way of living. But change is difficult for us. So often we opt to continue the old pattern rather than risking the danger of difference. We are also often surprised by change that seems to arise out of nowhere. We find ourselves crossing some new threshold we had never anticipated. Like spring secretly at work within the heart of winter, below the surface of our lives, huge changes are in fermentation. We never suspect a thing. Then, when the grip of some long-enduring winter mentality begins to loosen, we find ourselves vulnerable to a flourish of possibility. And we are suddenly negotiating the challenge of a threshold. At any time, you can ask yourself, at which threshold am I now standing? At this time in my life, what am I leaving? Where am I about to enter? What is preventing me from choosing my next threshold? What gift would enable me to do it? A threshold is not a simple boundary. It is a frontier that divides two different territories, rhythms, and atmospheres. Indeed, it is a lovely testimony to the fullness and integrity of an experience or a stage of life that it intensifies toward the end into a real frontier that cannot be crossed without the heart being passionately engaged and woken up. This is one of the reasons such vital crossing were always clothed in ritual. It is wise in your own life to be able to recognize and acknowledge the key thresholds, to take your time to feel all the varieties of presence that accrue there, to listen inward with complete attention until you hear the inner voice calling you forward. The time has come to cross. So beautiful words from John O'Donoghue about crossing thresholds and turning pages and being in this liminal space between parts of our lives. And we're just relating that idea to crossing thresholds and parts of our lives to this idea of waking up from sleep time to work time, getting ready for the conference day ahead of you. And we're going to do an eyes open practice, which is this idea of luxuriating in the moment, this idea that we can be fully present, even though we are in a liminal space. As I said, if you're in bed, snuggle in. And if you're awake and upright, as I am, think about also being cozy and warm and just sitting or lying. Lying is the best thing at this point. And considering what are the sensations on your skin. So just luxuriating in that sense of being aware of what's currently touching your skin. If you're in bed in a hotel, maybe there is the sensation of crisp laundered sheets. If you're at home, sitting at the breakfast table, maybe you've put on a lovely silk shirt or a lovely warm cozy jersey or something. Maybe you can feel other items of clothing on your skin. For example, you might be able to feel, as I have, jeans or trousers. If you're still in your pajamas, maybe you can feel the softness of the fabric of your pajamas. And again, there's a liminal space between whatever is touching your skin and your skin. So the liminal space between things. Everything has a transition point. So can you bring your attention to the transition point? Maybe just pick one part of your clothing or one part of the bed sheets or something that is very ripe for your attention. So feet or hands are good places to feel the liminal space. And you'll feel that actually, surprisingly, you don't come into direct contact with the fabric or with the sheets or whatever it is that you're able to be in contact with. There is the tiniest fraction of a space between you and the next thing. So if you're using, for example, a part of your arm, you have tiny hairs that create an air gap between the fabric and your skin. See if you can sense into that, see if you can find that with your mind, with your what's called proprioception. If you're feeling into your feet, Maybe you have shoes or socks on, maybe you have tights, maybe you have bare feet in the bed, maybe your feet are in slippers. Again, see if you can sense into the contact, and where there is no contact or less contact between your feet, the skin on your feet, the little air bubble that surrounds your feet, and then whatever sits around that. So shoes, socks, sheets, whatever. So this ability of ours to, even with our eyes open, without doing anything very fancy, we can turn our attention to different parts of our experience. So normally our focus is wide and we're kind of scooping in experience. And that means that our attention is not very fine-grained. But in the stillness, in this space between sleep and action, we can use the fine-grain attention of our mind to find really interesting parts of our experience. And rather than discounting them or thinking that they're unworthy of our attention, we can understand that there's a real luxuriant sense of soaking it in. We can get a real sense of stillness and calm and presence by narrowing our focus. So if you'd like to just stay lying down or in this cozy position that you've adopted, whatever it is, begin to turn your attention to the day that lies ahead of you. And think about how you will enter into this day that you are about to have. So firstly, start with, how are you right now? And this is not a superficial inquiry. This is an inquiry into your inner self. It deserves some attention to say, how am I right now? To notice your mood, to notice your physicality, to notice your energy levels, to notice your mind state, for example, and to notice your heart state. So again, we bundle these things together when we say, how are you? Most of us go fine, or, tired, or angry, or anxious. And we've bundled into that label a whole bunch of things. And this inquiry about how am I right now invites you to go to the different parts of how am I. How am I physically? I might be fine physically. And then when I turn to how am I in a mood state, I might discover that my mood is not so good, yet my body is fine. So there's inside of us, there's all sorts of contradictions. I work with a lot of people who suffer from high levels of anxiety and depression and pain. And the best expression of this is, I was working with a lady and I was asking her to work through all the different bits of her experience. And her beautiful quote back to me was, oh, you know what? My little toe isn't anxious. So she was full of anxiety, and that was showing up in her mood and her brain and in her heart state and in her physicality. But when she really paid attention, little toe is fine. And you can work with that. So then the question becomes for you, what is the day ahead? How would you like to enter the day ahead without ignoring how you are, without ignoring your mood state, your mind state, your heart state, your physical state? So how would it be possible to move into this day in a kind way, in a respectful way to yourself, without pretending that all the things that are happening within you on a moment by moment basis, without pretending that that can be ignored or should be ignored, but instead recognizing it will come with you. In some way, it will flavor the day, but it doesn't need to control the day. It doesn't need to be everything about the day. So even if you have pain, it is still possible to laugh and share a joke. Even if you feel some anxiety about the number of emails you've got to process, despite the fact that you're in a conference and trying to devote your energy to a conference. Even with this sense, how is it possible to be fully present? And it is. So despite our tendency to label ourselves one way, this introspection at this point in the day, before you get up or before you get into the hurly-burly, can help you to realize that you have a myriad of possibilities. You have a myriad ways of showing up. And this is part of waking up from sleep to activity. So if you've been lying in bed all this time, now's the time to just sit up and go from horizontal to just sitting up in your bed, pack some pillows around you. Maybe if the hotel's a bit stuffy, you could open a window just so your body's getting used to the fact that you're going to be moving soon. But again, in the gentlest and kindest way, keep yourself warm, keep yourself in that lovely liminal space. And while you're doing that, I will read a poem, and then we're going to do a sitting practice. Excuse me. This poem is, by the way, I wasn't a great poetry person until I started mindfulness, and this poem is kind of one of the poems that helped me understand mindfulness. It showed me the potential that mindfulness could open for me to a fuller life, a more joyful life, a life of more possibilities. And it was this poem that sort of struck me. So I have a great love for it. It's called If I Had My Life to Live Over by Nadine Stair. And apparently when she wrote it, she was about 84. And she'd just finished a mindfulness course. She'd just done some of the basic mindfulness training. If I had my life to live over, I would dare to make more mistakes next time. I'd relax. I would limber up. I would be sillier than I have this trip. I would take fewer things seriously. I would take more chances. I would climb more mountains and swim more rivers. I would eat more ice cream and less beans. I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but I'd have fewer imaginary ones. You see, I am one of those people who has lived sensibly and sanely hour after hour, day by day. Oh, I've had my moments, and if I had to do it all over again, I'd have more of them. In fact, I tried to have nothing else, just moments, one after another, instead of living so many years ahead of each day. I've been one of those people who never goes anywhere without a thermometer, a hot water bottle, a raincoat, and a parachute. If I had to do it again, I would travel lighter than I have. If I had my life to live over, I would start barefoot earlier in the spring and stay that way later in the fall. I would go to more dances. I would ride more merry-go-rounds. I would pick more daisies. So just allowing those beautiful words to sink inside of you. Sit in a way that you're symmetrical, you're upright, and that your spine can do most of the lifting. So it's not a muscular sitting up, it's just a gentle uprightness. And you need to place your hands in a way that they are going to be supported so that your shoulders remain on top of your hips, basically, and that they don't stoop forward. And that comes from your hands sitting in your lap or sitting on the table. So there's nothing woo-woo about this posture, although it often looks like it's a very formalized posture. It's not meant that way. It's really just meant to give us the greatest possible ease as we sit. So if this doesn't make your body feel relaxed and easeful and attentive, adjust your posture accordingly. And then when you're ready, just very gently shut your eyes and take a deeper breath and allow the breath to go into the body. And take your mind inside and down inside of your tummy. And this is called belly breathing. But unlike yoga and unlike other meditation techniques, we're not going to change the breath. We're just going to allow the breath to come and go in its own natural rhythm. And we're going to keep our attention in the belly. So keep that lovely focus inside of ourselves as the belly moves. You're not making the belly move, you're allowing the breath to do that. The mind often gets jumpy when we try and focus. One of the benefits of mindfulness is it improves our ability to focus. So just bring the mind back. It's like having a little piece of elastic band, pulling the mind back to the belly. There's nothing to do, no place to go, nothing to solve or fix, just for this moment. Watch the belly breathe, watch the body breathe. Allow the mind to settle. So as soon as we come to stillness in this way, all sorts of things become apparent. The jumpiness of the mind, just bring it back. Also, you might notice physical sensations that you've not noticed before. Again, no need to react to those, just notice them. It's all good to know, good to know. You might also begin to notice sounds around you. So particularly in a hotel, there's often clanking and banging from next door or in the corridor. Just bring the mind back to the belly and the breathing. And as you ease your way into this stillness, notice what begins to settle and calm. What begins to release. When the jumpy mind stops jumping. When the body stops fidgeting. What is there to discover? What peace, what tranquility, what relaxation is already there beneath the surface in the way John O'Donoghue described. Underneath everything, something else is stirring. That might be a sense of harmony or radiance or goodness. Might be a sense of potential, excitement for the day ahead. So in stillness, we find a deeper truth. We find something else that is hidden by all our mind states and activities. Notice how some of the tension falls away from your shoulders. Notice how the belly unclenches to allow the breath more space. Not because we are doing anything, but because we have the courage to sit here in stillness. As Nadine Stair says, I would not spend so much time living so many years ahead of each day. Notice how true this is for you. The mind wanting to go ahead, the mind wanting to get going, the mind telling you, you can't afford to do this. So when you're ready, just one or two slightly deeper breaths. Become aware of the room in which you're sitting. Become aware of sounds outside of the room or anything else that helps you to orient to where you are. And when you're ready, just open your eyes very gently. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. If you haven't got water, please find some water. Please take some nice sips of water. We're going to move our bodies now and move to standing. So we started lying, then we went to sitting. Now we're going to move to standing. And I'm going to just lead a short orientation towards some physical waking up, if you like. And then I'll close, but I'll also invite you to stay and ask any questions if you have anything that you'd like to ask me about today. But I'm aware that you need to be out at 8:15 sharp, so I will end before that and leave time for questions so that those who are in need of doing things before closing at 8:15 can do that. So water, please. Okay, so just as part of your intention setting for the day, I just want to read another quote. Just struggling to find it now. I thought I'd put. No, she's. So, if anybody knows the German philosopher Goethe, I don't know if that's exactly how I should be saying his name. That's the way I've always said it. But this is a reflection for you to take into your day. Until one is committed, there is always hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There is one element of truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising to one's favor all manner of unforeseen accidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would come his way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So when you're ready, please come to a vertical position, standing, and you might need some more water. So we're not going to do anything fancy. You need to think about your own physical well-being here. So if anything I suggest tweaks your back or puts you in danger, then you must do what's best for you, not what I'm saying. So take care of yourself. But just stand with your hips aligned, your feet under your hips. If you've just got out of bed, maybe a yawn and a stretch. So just something very simple. Even if you've been sitting as I have, a yawn and a stretch is a great idea. We don't do enough of this. So just feel into your own body. I hope that you're somewhere where you can do this without feeling embarrassed. But you know, even if you're standing at the coffee station in the restaurant, you can still just stretch, roll your shoulders, feel into your hips and get some movement going. This is why I kept your cameras off, so you don't need to be embarrassed about how you look. I can be embarrassed, you can't. So yeah, just feel into your body. Feel how a stretch really brings energy in. You can just return to stillness and allow that small amount of movement to tingle its way through your body. So let's just start with some gentle neck rolls, very gentle. Do not overstretch, just go to one side, then drop the head and roll to the other side. This is a half roll, we're not doing a full roll. Half roll back to the other side. Half roll back to the other side. And when you're confident, you feel that you're not going to injure your neck, stop on one side, just increase the stretch very slightly here, drop that shoulder there. Just feel into these muscles here. And then gradually roll to the other side. Don't forget to breathe and allow these muscles to relax and stretch. Drop this shoulder. If you spend all day at a computer, as I do, this is very important work. Good. And return the head to the down position in the center and then up to vertical. So you're just standing with your head on top of your shoulders and feel how that has changed your posture, changed your sensations in your body. And then when you're ready, raise up your arms. If you feel able to, clasp your hands and push outwards. If not, you can push outwards that way, whichever way suits you. And then drop your head very slowly. and then push towards the far wall. So you've got a stretch across the back of the shoulders. And release and come back to standing. Nice deep breath. One more time. Feel this through your arms, through your fingers, through the back of the shoulders. Just stretch as far as you can, as far as you feel able without overstretching. Come back to standing. And then raise up your left arm or your right arm and try to pick some grapes off the ceiling. They're just out of reach. Pick, and you can lift your leg or lift the foot off the floor so that actually that increases the stretch all the way down here. And release. Other side. Up and pick some grapes and stretch through this side of the body. If anybody here has been on a workout this morning, this should feel extra great to stretch. And back to standing. Now just roll your shoulders back like this and get the movement through the whole of the torso now. The whole of the torso waking up. Roll the shoulders the other way. I always think that's like swimming. In fact, if you want to, you can swim. That's a good idea. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, feel that. Oh, I don't know about you, but my back needed that. Good. And come to standing again. And feel the benefits. Feel how your body loves to move in this quiet and gentle way. No striving, no goals, no achievement, just a quiet and gentle stretch for the body. Oh, and the final bit of waking up comes from Qigong. So you're going to cup your hands like this, and you're just going to begin to tap your scalp around the hairline. Take off your glasses and tap through your face. So it's really gentle, but it's kind of forceful gentleness. And round the back of the neck as well. Okay, and then you cup your hand, so a cup like that, and you cup and go down your arm from the top down to the bottom, cup your down like this, and do the inside of the arm as well. And then you continue to go through the rest of the body, just giving yourself a lovely pat around the back of your, around here as well, flicky, flicky, bum, hips, lower abdomen, down your legs, down your legs. Any last bits that you want to wake up? Oh, and then just, oh, shake it out. Shake it out. And then stand and feel, oh, feel the tingles. Oh, feel your body alive. Feel your mind has woken up. Oh. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. I will stay online for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to offer you the opportunity to unmute and use your camera if you would like to. If you need to leave and want to get on to a busy day, have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Thank you for the goodness of your practice. And I hope to see you again soon. We run mindfulness sessions in AbbVie every month. They're just moving to a Friday at 10:30. The next one is on the 14th of October. Look out for announcements from the Vitality team. And if you would like to ask me questions, you can send me a chat. But I'm also going to just give you the option to turn on your mic and to allow cameras, right? So if anybody wants to do that, you can now do that. I've just changed the settings. Thank you so much. And of course, sorry, I need to stop the recording. So anything you ask me or